This video is going to be more about uh, trading, what I do and what I've recently been doing to achieve new levels of success. So, the first thing I want to talk about is really just like a lot of new traders in the scene, or even like more experienced or intermediate traders, they focus too much on the money that they're making or the daydreaming or mental masturbation, thinking about the potential outcome of their trading rather than their actual inputs and processes in trading. And that just leads to traders making mistakes, focusing on the wrong things quite often. And, what I've recently noticed is that if I'm focusing too much on my goal outcome, such as like a figure amount of money I want to make, or expecting to only win trades and moving to like Miami or something, everybody's dream, something like that. My decisions inside of trading, more often than not, will be very solely focused on the outcome. And I'll be highly likely to make more mistakes, make unthoughtful decisions, and, sometimes force a perspective onto the market. So, once I realized that, I kind of paired some things I've learned from atomic habits in terms of setting up systems for a main goal with smaller goals and actions behind them, which will in turn achieve the main goal. And my main goal being moving to Miami, making 100K in a month, stuff like that, right? So for me, my main goal is obviously to make as much money as possible in trading and to achieve the freedom I want. But I can't consciously think about that during the trading day, or I'm going to mess up and probably fuck myself over and lose trades or money or whatever, and just get overly emotional and make emotional decisions. So what I've done instead is I focus on the inputs that in turn will get me to my main goal. So kind of something I've recently implemented. This is a bit too late, I'm not gonna lie, like in terms of me talking about it, but I made some January goals. And those goals consist of executing on my model only without any hesitation. So I used to hesitate on like really A plus trades, just super obvious trades, and a lot for whatever reason, even if they were exactly what I was looking for. And this is obviously going to have an effect on my trading, and in turn, it's probably going to hinder my ability to achieve my main goal, being making more money. So that's a main goal. I like the first goal for January. I know this is coming out like the end of January, but the first goal was executing on my model only without any hesitation. My second goal was don't fuck up once this month on executing my model. So don't take a trade that isn't my exact model. I will say, just to preface, I did fuck up once. I took a short against equal highs. That was the only fuck up I've had this month, and today's December 29th. It's going to be the only fuck up I'll have this month. Other than that, I've performed extremely well in the markets. Only made that one mistake. I am mad about it, but I can't control now. I can only control the future, and I'm just happy that you know I'm not making as many mistakes as I used to, and I'm already past that. Like I fucked up once, and it just like it hurts so bad to fuck up that I couldn't do it again. So what that goal means of don't fuck up once this month on executing my model, this just means I can only be taking trades that are exactly what I'm looking for. They're super A plus. They're a confirmation of assumptions I'm making onto the market. Assumptions just mean I'm sitting there during the trading day and I'm like saying certain situations I want to see happen or prefer to happen, and I wait for them to happen before I can take a trade. So I wait for them to happen, and once they do happen, once my assumption is confirmed, I have a high quality, high probability setup, and there's nothing left to do but execute, which ties back into no hesitation. If my assumption is confirmed, I can execute super easily, right? I should feel like I'm compelled to take the trade. So, this is just going to contribute to my main goal, because if I'm only taking the highest quality setups, I'm also executing on my model in its most consistent form, which means that I'm executing on my model just like I am in back testing, right? I'm taking the most A plus trades, and I haven't showed my back testing results on YouTube, but my back testing results are really, really good. So That means that if I'm bringing over the kind of execution and trading that I am on backtesting to the live markets perfectly, I'm going to have those same results. And what I'm doing is, over time, positive results and my main goal, making money, is going to be inevitable just because I'm taking my model in its most consistent form. So instead of taking bullshit setups or that used to be something I used to struggle with. It's just taking stupid setups because I was just, forcing ideas. Like, I was in an outcome based mindset. So I would force ideas onto the market that weren't true. And that would make me take bad setups. So what I did now is I step back. I'm really being analytical and objective, not forcing any ideas onto the market and just waiting for those A plus setups and not thinking about the outcome. And once I started focusing on taking the highest quality setups instead of focusing on the outcome of my trading, that's when I stopped taking bullshit trades. That's when I started making more money. And the third and final January goal I have is 1 trade a day. And then I have some pre-market, intra-market, and post-market introspection. So basically what that is I'll ask myself a bunch of questions and I'll like scan through my brain just to see if I'm like slipping anywhere, slipping up anywhere, stuff like that. And it really helps me to like lock in during the market session, know if I'm going to force something. It just like, it's like a fail safe. I catch myself before I can actually fuck up. And the rest of this goal, so first off, 1 trade a day, pre-intra, post-market introspection, lock myself out of my account once I recognize market conditions or I've taken that 1 trade. So if I recognize market's super choppy, I'm going to lock myself out just as another failsafe so that I literally cannot force anything whatsoever. I've never like really forced a trade in bad conditions, but I just think like even if you have a really strong mental, it's good just to lock yourself out just because. But limiting myself to 1 trade a day, it's a fail-safe, just like I said, for over trading and emotional trading. A lot of traders will be consumed in the outcome, like I said before, and it leads to them getting emotional. Come a loss or a missed trade, they'll likely overtrade or emotionally trade and enter something that isn't their setup because they're only thinking of the outcome in their mind, not the process, right? Like if I'm thinking of, oh, I want to make $10,000, I'm just going to try and take everything, every single setup, even if it's not A plus, even if it's not exactly my model. But if I'm thinking about just taking A plus setups that are exactly my model, I'm not thinking about the outcome. I'm thinking about the process, and I'm going to get the outcome because of that. So when I take 1 trade a day, it forces me to wait for the best setup possible. I highly recommend that you guys do this if you really want to instill discipline into your trading and prevent yourself from outcome-based thinking and actions. That being said, you're still going to have to create experiences that resonate with being an input-based person, right? So what I do is everything I've listed here. That's how I'm creating experiences that resonate with being an input-based person. And that's why I now am an input-based person and I can be disciplined and, an extremely good trader is just because of that. So, you've got to program yourself to forget about the outcome in order for the 1 trade a day strategy to work properly. And then pre-market, intra-market, and post-market introspection is something I recently picked up, but it's helped me in so many ways. Like what I mean by this is that I'm taking a piece of paper, like I just showed you, and I'm writing down and really analyzing myself internally. I ask myself, this is a big question I ask myself every morning. I ask myself, is there anything that I am coming into the market with that I am forcing, expecting, or have a clouded judgment on? So, am I forcing an idea onto the market? Am I expecting to win, to lose? Am I expecting to take a trade? Am I expecting to make money? Am I expecting to lose money? Those are, expectations of what the market should do is outcome-based thinking. And that's how you're going to fuck yourself up. And a clouded judgment. Am I reading the market in the most objective and clear way possible? You have to have a clear mind. You can't have a clouded judgment in the markets. So writing this down just helps me to be like brutally honest with myself when I'm coming into the market, just actively watching the market or coming out of the market, you know? I can see if I'm affected by emotions, if I'm affected by outcome-based thinking, you know, it just helps me to admit and hold myself accountable if I'm expecting to, you know, win and make money today, something like that, right? And, you know, I know that I shouldn't be trading if I do have like anything that goes against my January goals or anything that's putting me farther away from my main goal. So if I am having outcome-based thinking on that day, I should get off. I shouldn't trade that day because that's not in line with my January goals and it's going to make me fuck up. So yeah, what else do I have here? So if I'm expecting to win or make money, I know that I should not be trading, and that if I do trade, I'd be going against my January goals. So being dialed in during market times and really knowing how my state of mind is super important. And finally, this is the last thing in that third part of the goal, is I'm locking myself out of my account as a final measure of security once I do take a trade. Or if I recognize that the market conditions are lower probability and unfavorable, right? So this just makes sure that I don't fuck up. I don't do something I know I shouldn't be doing. And it makes it so that I don't have to rely solely on willpower to not overtrade or emotionally trade. Instead, I have an external factor that actually keeps me in check and blocks me from doing something stupid. So a lot of the time you'll notice that like you know you don't want to like overtrade or trade a little emotionally, but once those emotions come in, you're relying on just your willpower. And 99% of the time, until you're a really good trader, 99% of the time, your emotions are going to beat the willpower. So having something that's a fail-safe, that's an external factor that you can't change, makes it so you don't have to rely on yourself anymore. And overall, I know that these three goals are going to be a huge funnel towards my main goal of getting a bunch of payouts this month, stuff like that. And if I follow them to a T and I don't mess up once, I know for a fact that the progress I make in January will be amazing. And it has been. So, you know, I highly recommend that you guys do some deep thinking, consider these ideas in your own trading, and really take yourself to the next level. So thank you for your time, and God bless.